Hello students, this is Mrs. Jones. Today we're going to be starting to talk about sizes of paper, weight of paper, and then as we go forward over the next couple weeks we're going to talk about ink and ink usage, how much ink you should buy, all those different kinds of things. So we're starting off with just talking about the basic size and thickness and weight of paper stock. So this is your lesson guide that you have. You can print it or you can look at it to follow along with the video, but that's not necessary. Different kinds of paper are made in different sizes. Like bond and ledger paper, which is used for like copiers and stuff like that, are made in 17 by 22 sheets. They don't come 8.5 by 11. They're made in these size sheets and then cut and bundled to the size that you need for what you want to buy. Right? Just informational kind of things there. But going forward with this, I want to talk about thickness of paper. This is called a caliper and is used to measure very thin or very large distances. You can even measure inside of tubes and that kind of things. But they use a caliper like this to measure the thickness of different kinds of sheets of paper. So, and that's why when they talk about paper thickness, sometimes they just use the word caliper instead of thickness. But they, this is a piece of cardstock, and if I put it into this caliper, it comes out as 0.007 of an inch thick. That's what that says. 0.007 for this cardstock. This is just a plain sheet of copy paper, and you can feel it, it's thinner, it looks thinner. This plain sheet of copy paper is only 0.003 of an inch thick. So when they talk about thickness of paper, a lot of times they interchange the word caliper because that's the tool that they use to measure the thickness of the paper. And on your lesson guide here, there's different types of paper and their general sizes or general thicknesses of those different kinds of paper. Right? So the next thing we need to talk about paper is well, let me do this thing here. We're going to do a little experiment. If we were in class, I would make you guys all do this, and so that you can feel it on your own. But if I hold, this is 2 pieces of cardstock here. If I fold one a hamburger fold and fold one a hot dog fold, if you guys remember those terms from elementary school, the hot dog fold here is a lot smoother and a lot just more precise than this hamburger fold. And I hope you can see this on film, that it kind of looks a little bit on the bumpy side, and it's not real smooth when I do it. I mean, I could crease this down real hard, but when I just fold it, do you see the bumps in there? That's because of the grain of the paper. Paper has a grain, just like a piece of wood has grain. If you think of even a steak has grain. The direction of the fibers in the paper, or the direction of the fibers in the piece of meat, or the direction of the grain of wood When you cut a piece of meat or cut a piece of wood, you're going to get a nice, smooth, easy cut when you cut with the grain of the paper. When you're cutting against the grain, it's going to be harder to cut, and you're going to have a little bit more of a bumpy look. That's because this paper that I have here, this cardstock, the grain of this cardstock goes on the 11 by 8.5 side, this way. So that's why when I folded it this way, it had a nice even fold. So on the 11-inch fold. Well, you go, well, how do I know how do I know which way the grain goes? Well, on a ream of paper, now this one, I don't know if somebody's taken some out of this, but do you see where it says 11 or 8.5 by 11 and there's a little line underneath there? That's telling you that the grain is going along the 11-inch direction. Other things that you can know by the label are this is 250 sheets inside of here. And what this 21.62 means, M, means that 1,000, M is 1,000 in Roman numerals, right? 1,000 sheets of paper is going to weigh 21.62 pounds. Okay? Kind of maybe prove it to you a little bit. This is going to be hard for you guys to see. I don't know if I could stack it on there, if it's going to fall over. I'm going to weigh it. That's what I'm going to try to do. So this ream of paper, you're going to have to trust me a little bit, weighs let me get it weighs 5.525 pounds. But remember, this ream of paper only had 250 sheets in it. So I would need 4 of these to make 1,000, correct? So if I multiply that by 4, that's 22.1 pounds. Well, but that doesn't make sense, because this says that it only weighs 21.62 pounds for 1,000 sheets. What makes a difference? Me putting this on the scale, there's something that's interfering with our numbers here. Do you know what it is? Yeah, it's this wrapper. This wrapper with this 21.62 doesn't take into consideration the weight of the wrapper. So the things you can know on the label here, you're going to know, first of all, the color. You're going to know the size. This is the grain. This is how many sheets are there. This is the weight of 1,000 sheets. Okay? Why would we be concerned about weight of our paper? Just one example of why we'd be concerned about weight. Well, if I was going to ship a book, I'm going to end up having to pay for that shipping, right? Or let's say like the Bible. The Bible is a very thick book. If we used thick paper that weighed a lot, first of all, that book is going to be huge because the paper is so thick and there's so many sheets in it. That's why if you've ever opened a book like that, it's got real thin paper, because they're concerned about weight and size of that paper. All right, so some of the calculations that we're going to do regarding weight and thickness are very easy calculations. Try to zoom in a little bit. This is an example. It's on like the 3rd page of your lesson guide or something. It says a book contains 450 pages. Oh, this is where you need to be concerned or be on, have your brain turned on. 450 sheets of paper, and each sheet of paper is 0.0035 inches thick. How thick in inches is the total book? You have to be concerned about the word pages or the word sheets. If it's pages, most books are printed back to back, right? So instead of using 450 sheets of paper, we're using half of that because we're printing those on 225 sheets of paper. Not sheets like the gas station, but sheets. And each sheet of paper is 0.0035. So we just multiply that by the thickness of each sheet of paper. So 225 times means that that book is going to be 0.07875 inches thick. So a little over 3/4 of an inch thick. Okay, so here's another example of the type of math we would be doing in this with paper. 4 sheets of book paper are 16 thousandths of an inch. So 16 thousandths, we have to know and remember from elementary school that means 16 thousandths, like that. And the 6 is in the thousandths spot. It says that 4 sheets of book paper are 16 thousandths. So if we divide this by 4, we'll get that each sheet is 0.004 each one, right? And again, we're going to do 248 pages, but we have to be very careful about the word pages and sheets. Pages, most books are done back to back, so we're actually only dealing with 124 sheets of paper. And we multiply that by how thick each sheet of paper is. And this is in inches. So our book is almost half of an inch thick. So the math involved here is actually very easy and straightforward. I'm going to make sure we're still on the camera there. Perfect. So let's pound out a couple more examples. A 250-page book exclusive of covers was printed on a soft, bulky paper that had a caliper of 0.006. How thick in inches was the body of the book? So again, we got to be careful about pages and sheets. So 256 pages is only 128 sheets of paper. And each sheet of paper is 0.006. So that means that our book, the body of our book, is 0.768 inches thick. So a little over 3/4 again. Alright. This is another almost exactly like the one that we did before. 6 sheets of 60-pound book paper. This means nothing for us right now. So that doesn't matter for us right now. Have a caliper of 0.024. So 0.024, and we have 6 sheets of paper. So if we divide that by 6, we're going to get that each sheet of paper is 0.004. And look, oh, sheets. That's already, we don't divide that by 2 because that's already sheets. 0.004. So this particular book is going to be almost 1 inch thick. So the next example here is a 750 sheet stack of 60-pound book paper. Remember, at this point right now, that doesn't mean anything to us. It's often referred to as a lift of paper, so that's just a vocabulary term. That it measured 3 inches thick. So this whole stack measured 3 inches thick, just like up here, how 6 sheets measured 0.024. The whole stack is 3 inches, and there's 750 sheets of paper, so each paper would be 0.004 inches again. Remember, we talked, that's caliper. We got one more example here that I want to go through, and this is kind of working backwards a little bit. It says the designer of a hardcover book was informed by the customer that the thickness of the 540 page book could not exceed 1 5/8. What is the maximum caliper of paper that can be used for printing the book? So our book is 1 5/8, and we're going to turn that into a decimal, so it would be 1.625. And we have 540 pages, which would mean that there's only 270 sheets of paper, correct? If I divide that out, I get 0.060185119. So our biggest sheet we could use was 0.006 to stay underneath that 1 5/8. So our paper could be anything less than 0.006. Actually, it could be less than or equal to 0.006, which if we looked back at our table of calipers here, that means that we could pick a lot of these different options for our thickness. We couldn't pick this one. We could that one. No, 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 and no. So we could pick these different kinds of paper because they would all stay below our desired thickness, maximum thickness. All right. I hope this video helps you understand about what caliper is, what grain of paper is, and just a little bit of information about paper and how it's produced. Please go answer the questions on the Google quiz. Make sure you hit submit. If you have any questions, you can always email me at cjones@ictc.edu. Or I'm also trying to, every day from at least 2:30 to 3, make myself available on Zoom. The Zoom link is in the stream of your Google Classroom. All right. Thank you guys. Have a great day. I hope to see you again soon. Bye.